Assalamu alaikum. Before we start our today's amazing story, please consider liking our video and subscribe to our channel if you like our content. My dear brothers and sisters, the story I will count is a famous one of a very famous magician in North Africa. I chose this specific story because of its events and ending to show the ending of those who follow the path of Shaitan, so I hope it will be beneficial inshallah. And P.S. The events are counted by his close people and those who dealt with him and himself, so let's start. Bismillah. I am named Camel. I am from North Africa. I was a simple worker. I come from the big city, but my life was a complete haram life. I had an addiction for alcohol and nightclubs and drugs and many other things. I never prayed or practiced deen. I didn't come of a family that practiced deen either, so I wasn't familiar with it. Don't get me wrong, despite my haram life, I did high studies and became an engineer, and my new life started after I got a proposition for a new job in a small town in my country. I accepted the job and moved to the small town, and I fell in a routine that included work and home, and my life became boring. I had no intention of getting married or settle. I got used to the haram life I led, and my heart got so covered with sins that I didn't felt guilt at all. One night while I was returning from work, I saw on the highway a pregnant woman that looked to be in pain, so I stopped the car and asked, "Can I help you?" And she said, "Please take me to the hospital, I'm going to give birth." And I rushed her inside the car, and finally we arrived in time to the hospital. I was told that the woman gave birth to a son and both are good, so I got happy and prepared to leave until I saw a man coming toward me. He was wearing black clothes and an expensive watch. He looked to be very rich, and he approached me and said, "Thank you so much for saving the life of my wife and my son. Do you know how much we waited for this child? I will surely return you the favor. Ask whatever you want." I said, "No need." I just did what anyone would do, and I excused myself and left. The next day when I left work, I found the same man standing near my car. How did he know it was my car? Most important, how did he know where I work? I walked toward him and he greeted me and even said my name. I was confused but didn't show it. He said, "Didn't I said I will return you the favor? Let's get in the car, I will take you with me somewhere." I was a bit skeptic, but my curiosity took over, and I admit I love adventures, so I accepted and we took my car and left. But after some time I noticed that we were going to a far place until we reached a neighborhood that looked abandoned, so I asked, "What is this place?" He replied, "My house is here, let's go." I was confused because he looked rich. I imagined he lived in a modern building or a big villa, and once we entered his house I got more confused. It looked old and had not much furniture. We sat on a sofa that looked old, and he served me alcohol. He knew exactly what drink I liked, and he said, "Don't be ashamed and drink." He knew exactly what I was thinking and said, "Don't be surprised, I live here, I have my own reasons, but if you knew the amount of my bank account you should be shocked." And he laughed and went upstairs and came back with a luggage full of money. I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was enough money to build my future and not work for a lifetime. He said, "You want to be as rich as me? I brought you here to teach you black magic." I thought he was joking, but he looked very serious. I knew magic exists and the magicians deal with the jinns, etc., but I never got interested in this at all. But looking at the money, I told myself, it might be a way for me to become rich, and I said, "I accept." He nodded and said, "I am a very powerful magician and I practice it since a long time, and I chose you to be my student, so I will start by teaching you the basic, like how to call the lower jinns and make them under your command." He brought some books that looked old, and I saw some weird signs in a language I did not understand. The man said that it's the Syrianic, which is the jinn language. He said, "I have one condition. You must remain in my house with me 3 months until you finish learning and see how I proceed." And I agreed, and my journey begun.
Rest of the story will be shared in coming videos, inshallah.